Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Real Talk with Coach Sherry. And I really appreciate you all for tuning in tonight. You can catch me here live every Friday night at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And tonight, just like all of my guests, I have a dynamic guest. And I hope that you have your pen and paper ready to capture the notes and the nuggets that she is going to drop here tonight. I am excited to have her here. If you are a nonprofit, if you are a small business, this live and this conversation is one you definitely want to join. Feel free to leave a message in the chat. Here at Real Talk with Coach Sherry, you'll learn a lot about workforce development, career readiness, and entrepreneurship. And we tie all of that together with self-awareness. And, you know, my foundation is sports. So all of that is all related. And I'm just happy to have you here. I see Vern's Junk Closet is in the building. Vern is amazing with business. Her information that she shares, I have a notebook just for her. So thank you, Vern, for being here. And LaToya, well, I haven't introduced her yet, but I just wanted to show you on the side, you can see where the comments are. So without further ado, I am introducing LaToya Faustin. She is the CEO of Stay Ready Consulting Solutions, LLC. Now, typically when I do my interviews, I lace who the person is throughout as I ask questions regarding different stages of their careers, of their life. This is my 5th episode, so my format is going to change periodically because I am, still feeling my way. But I really wanted to get a lot of your bio out there, LaToya, so that the listeners can understand a little bit more of who you are and why you are so dynamic. So first of all, LaToya has her bachelor's and her master's, her MBA from Elon University, which is here in North Carolina. She is bilingual. Her second language is Spanish. She has successfully directed educational programs that focused on college and career readiness at low-performing Title I schools, where she managed staff development, programming, and volunteer retention. And those programs she has built from the bottom up, and she is a warrior. I am a witness to that. She's a former executive director for a nonprofit that focused on affordable housing, workforce development, and food deserts, all of which LaToya has spearheaded. And she has worked in the community tirelessly and has successfully networked her way into many boards of directors, on executive committees. She has become an SME, a subject matter expert here in the Charlotte community. And she has worked tirelessly in the urban community for such things as education, food deserts, and affordable housing. Currently, LaToya is the CEO for Stay Ready Consulting Solutions, LLC, which is a consulting firm supporting small businesses and the nonprofits in the Charlotte region. She's also the chair for the Neighborhood Revitalization Committee of Habitat for Humanity of the Charlotte region. She recently joined the She Built This City as the Chief Operating Officer. She built this city, you guys. Wait till you hear about that. All right. So let's welcome LaToya. Welcome to Real Talk with Coach Sherry. And before we begin, I just want to I see Natural Larisha is in the building. Of course, Vern's Junk Closet. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you all for tuning in, for being here. A lot of people, they just are in their space listening in, and I appreciate them too. All right. And we'll get to questions as they arise. I'll put them up on the board, LaToya, so that you can also see them. I'll highlight certain ones. And Yeah, so let's get it started. You guys, this is just going to be a conversation, and you're just lucky to be part of it, as I am. So, LaToya,
yes, Sherry.
Let's start our way from the begin. Well, let's start our way from current back. All right. Typically, I start from back to forward, but I want to start where you are today. So, how did you come up with "Stay Ready"? How did you come up with that?
Yes. So, Sherry, you have just expectations so high.
No.
No, thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me. It is an honor to be on this platform with you. You are a powerhouse, and so to share this screen of sorts with you is an honor, and I don't take that for granted. So thank you for having me this evening, and I'm excited to connect with your guests and people who typically tune in. I am so excited. So thank you for having me. So how did I get here with Stay Ready? So I was transitioning out of a role at a nonprofit here in Charlotte and began to think through, like, as a nonprofit leader, I've only worked for nonprofits my entire career. So as a nonprofit leader, what was missing? You know, what did I wish I had with me? And it was competent help. And I say competent help because nonprofits typically get a lot of help from volunteers, from corporate execs, people who just want to support the organization or interns. But oftentimes our passion exceeds our budget and we cannot afford the kind of help that we need to truly push our budget forward. And so, to push our mission forward. And so I said, maybe, stay ready. Maybe I could be a solution. Maybe I could be a need filler. And so I originally intended to be a gap filler. So what was it within your organization that you needed done? Whether it was a grant, whether it was a project, whether it was a program development or curriculum, whatever it was, I could be that at an executive level, but not with the fringe benefits that comes with having another executive on your team and without the long-term commitment of hiring a full-time staff person. And so that was the premise. And then the name Stay Ready, so you don't have to get ready. You have someone there that keeps you ready for whatever is next. And so that is what my career has been, always thinking about what's next. And so you do not have to have a long think time or long response time. You can just get started. And so that is what Stay Ready meant for me. And that is what I began marketing to the community around me. And as I began to reach out to partners that I had worked with in the past, one by one opportunities came. Could you handle this school-based project? We need a faith-based engagement coordinator here. We need someone who can help coordinate farmers markets in our community. All things that I had experience in, and it's like, you know what? Let's make this happen. I can be that. I can be that need meter for our organizations here in the Charlotte area.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Yes, help them to not only get ready, but to stay ready. That's one of those things where people will start something, but then they stop. They need someone oftentimes to help them start, but then to continuously push them along, empower them to continue to go and to fulfill their mission. So it sounds like you are that person that's closing the gap for many organizations. When you approach them, because especially in nonprofits, they're in the trenches, their heads are down, they're just trying to work. Do they even realize that, wow, I do need this? How do you convince them that they need that type of service?
It's typically with a conversation, like what we're having today. It's, what's going on? How are things working for you? What's your pain points right now? What do you wish you could focus on that you cannot? What do you wish you had an extra set of hands? Or if you had 5 more hours in the day, what would you be doing? And just you hear what their heartburn is, what the heartache is having right now. And then you propose a solution, either in person, like, you know what, I could do that for you, or you offer suggestions for them to do. If you had, this project management system in place that would help, and you don't have time to do it, I can set that up for you. I can make that happen. I think oftentimes, especially in the nonprofit arena, we are scared to put ourselves out there. It's almost like dating. You don't want to be the one to pursue. You want someone to pursue you. And so it's like, no, I can do that for you. I'm the right person for this. And sometimes they may not see it in the beginning, but you become the person that offers those suggestions, offer those solutions. You become the font of knowledge, so to speak, for that. And then soon enough, they're calling you and say, hey, actually, yes, I need this now. And I know that you can do it. When can you start?
Absolutely. So, being that you had experience running nonprofit organizations on many levels, you had it on a national level as well as local levels.
Yes.
Had you ever has anyone ever approached you with this type of opportunity? And, like, how did you come up with the idea to say, you know what, I could possibly make this into a business?
I'm trying to think. I don't know that I was ever approached with the opportunity. I think a lot of it came from a brainstorm with you, Sherry. I want to say that's where it came from. But I don't think I was ever approached with an opportunity, because I think some people, especially if you're not intimately familiar with the inner workings of a nonprofit, people discount the level of excellence with which a nonprofit has to work, or they just, associate it with the mom and pop beginner thing. They can just do whatever. You don't have to be an expert in anything to do a nonprofit. It's just what your heart wants to do. It's just a passion. So people typically discount the level of excellence with which a nonprofit can and should work. And so, no one has actually presented me with that, but it's something I've always known I needed, especially in my last role, building an organization from the ground up, forming national level partnerships, starting the process of construction on affordable housing units, securing a 5-acre farm. Like those are all things I did within 2 years of an organization, mostly on my own with the help of some volunteers. In the back of my mind, I'm always like, if I just had one person who could do this without me holding their hand, without me giving explicit instructions, without me having to put the forethought in. Something that I would say at citizen schools when I would hire new staff, especially young staff, is, if I have to use my brain to figure this out, I don't need your brain. And so, so I need you, when I give you something, I need you to think it from beginning to end. And that is something that at that organization we trained to do. So it was my job to help them learn the thought process of being a solution-oriented team player. But at some levels, I need you just to come game ready. I need you ready to hit the ground running. There's I've been reading Trevor Noah's book, Born a Crime, and he talks about the apartheid and his childhood in South Africa, that it was so unpredictable, it was so full of violence that what would normally throw people off, he was used to. So he and his mom were in a car, and the situation turned dangerous, and mom realizes, me and my son don't need to be in here. And so while Trevor was asleep, she opened the door and pushed him out the car. And he got up and just started running. He said, it was, my instinct was to run. Like, I didn't know what was going on and know what was happening. All I saw was my mom running. I ran. And then later I asked, why you do that? Like, and I feel like there's a perfect example of what we need at nonprofits. There's always an emergency. There's always something that needs to go. And I don't need someone who's going to fall out like, oh, that hurt. Why'd you do it? Ask me all those questions later. Like, we just got to go.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And, having worked under your directorship before, I know one of the things that you must have in any organization, be it nonprofit, for-profit, a family even, is trust. Right. So obviously he trusted his mother, and the way that you get that is by team building, by getting to know the people that you are surrounded with, and really being empathetic to all their needs. And you definitely built that trust. Another thing that you do, and you know what? Because I'm taking notes, and I asked everyone else to get their pen and paper ready, so I hope that they're taking notes. Can you repeat the name of that book again?
Yes, Born a Crime by Trevor Noah.
Okay, Born a Crime by Trevor Noah.
Yes. Okay. And the premise behind the name is just that he's biracial. His mother's from Africa. His father was, I believe, from Sweden. And at the time, it was illegal, for races to mix and to have children. And so he was literally the evidence of a crime that had happened. And so they had to hide him most of his childhood. It's very, very, especially given today's context of what our society is going through here in America, very great perspective to have.
Okay. I'm definitely going to pick that up. I want to, before we continue, because I have a whole list of things to talk about. I want to just go in the chat and see who else has entered the building. I see Blessed Row is in the building.
Bless. Hello, how are you?
Here, my soror Carter's Eats, my soror Lisa. I see she's here in the building. Let's see who else entered. And they're saying a lot of things. Let's see. Ruth Bad Bergensberg. I don't know. I have no idea. I can't say it.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg, some censorship must end.
All right. Let's say that does happen. All right. So I see Vern's Junk Closet is saying, that's amazing. A farm. Wow. Vern, you have no idea. Yes, it is amazing. LaToya, can you speak upon what that farm was and what it was designed to do for the community?
Yes. So a part of the mission of my previous organization was upward mobility. And that came out of, statistics from the Charlotte community around, if you're born in poverty in this county, in this city, you have a 0.4% chance of getting out of poverty. So from going from low income to middle income or middle income to upper income, that whole narrative of the American dream, you can be born in poverty and by hard work alone, you can have whatever you want. Well, that's a lie. And especially, and the numbers show that does not happen. If you're born in poverty, especially in Charlotte, you have 0.4%, almost no chance of getting out of poverty with the current systems in place. So that study came out to get I'm not even gonna try to say what it is because I forget the full name, but the study came out, recommendations came out, Leading on Opportunity Task Force gave those recommendations, and we were then at a place in our organization to take that as our own data and say, yes, we will work on it. So we then launched affordable housing, workforce development, and healthy living as a third platform, what I have now called the trifecta of upward mobility. There are definitely other factors that have to be in play to be successful and to move up that so-called ladder of success. But those three, if they're not addressed, you're not going to go far. So one of the things that we've been able to do, or we were able to do, is talk about what it means to have access to healthy, affordable food and how that is a right. But there are many systemic barriers that get in the way of people who live in low-income communities having access to that fresh, affordable food. And I say those two things separately because fresh is one thing, because you can get food and fruit at your corner store, but where did it come from and how long has it been there? And then affordable, so you can get fresh fruit at a supermarket, but is it the most economical option in your community because of how far it had to come to get to your community? So we began to look at what it means to have access to fresh, affordable food. And there's one thing to, again, know where the stores are, but can you produce it in your own community? So the farm became essential. It was in an area in Charlotte that was considered a food desert. And it had been previously owned by a nonprofit organization who had a similar mission. We were able to take that and amplify it to be able to serve more people with that food, but then also add an educational component. So bringing in curriculum around it, because it's one thing to have, collard greens. That was my joke. Like, you can have collard greens. However, if you prepare it in the traditional Southern fashion with ham hock and or fat back, you have then lost, the nutritional content. And you now added the sodium that then causes the high blood pressure that is then rampant in our community. And so not only do we need to give you access to these fresh fruits and vegetables, we also need to help you learn, potentially unlearn some habits around accessing the true nutritional value of that food. And do you know why you should eat it this way, and what that means for you and your family? And then teaching it young. Do kids even know that carrots are grown in the ground and they can be different colors? Just the access and exposure. And so the farm became the center of what that meant for our community. We can access that food. There can be careers around this. There can be sustainable careers, not just being a farmer. Being a farmer is a very noble career. They are essential. If we did not know that before COVID, we know it now. They are essential to what it means to live, in our community. but that's not the only job that can come out of it. There's so many other things that is related to the food system. And then the technology. Think about aquaponics and hydroponics and what it means to grow foods year round with just water and fish. So those were the things we began to, you can tell I'm still passionate about these things. Those are the things we
Yes.
began to delve into, and what could be a sustainable solution for our community. I have a good friend who says there really is no such thing as a food desert. Food can grow anywhere. It's about the access. And what has been taken away from us systematically as a community, that we feel like we don't have access. But if you have dirt, sunlight, and water, and as my son would add, love, love is the fourth ingredient, you can have access to whatever it is you can put your hands on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. And see, so Vern, that's what I was saying, where a farm, it is so much more than just that, or land is so much more than that. And I was steady writing down notes. And yes, you all, there was a task force report that was done by Harvard University and UC Berkeley, where they went around to 50 major cities around the country, and they looked at their transportation, their education, their access to jobs, to food, to different things. And out of those 50, Charlotte, North Carolina ranked 50 out of 50. And that's when what LaToya is talking about, the committee was developed in 2015 and 2016 to try to find solutions. How can we make Charlotte not 50 anymore? And 49th was Baltimore. And I've actually gone up to Baltimore to talk to the city of Baltimore regarding some of their programmings, because that's how I got involved with the city, is because of this. So LaToya and I have been working tirelessly together on many different platforms around this, and being that solution versus the problem.
Right.
So LaToya, in all that you do, I know that networking has been a huge factor in your success. Can you please go and share how networking has played a big role in what you're doing?
Networking has been essential. And I think, again, there are certain kind of people who are attracted to nonprofits, and networking can become almost a dirty word. It's like, oh no, that's what you do at the happy hours when I should be writing a grant. But networking has been essential to success in any of my endeavors. And I think it's, once I took it for myself, the mental transition that I had to make. It's not about what's in it for me for this particular situation. It's about, how do I get to my goals faster, more efficiently? If I try to do this all on my own, in my own little circle, my reach is limited. However, if I can partner with a person, better yet, an organization that has a core competency that exceeds mine, we can run together. I think there's an adage that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I think there's a little bit about our American society that we want to do. We want the credit. We want our name. We want the sole byline. We don't want to share that. And because we don't want to share that, we're, in my opinion, sacrificing true community-focused, holistic outcomes because we want our little piece. And so we offer our little piece, and the community eats our little piece. But they need more than our little piece. They need the whole pie. They need the whole thing, and something to drink, and like they need everything. But because we're so focused on our little piece, we cannot offer holistic solutions. And I think that's why we're so slow to move forward. And anyone who knows me, I'll say this: I think Charlotte has been so siloed approach. Well, we only do housing, so we're only going to deal with partnerships around housing, or we only do food, so let's only do food. But you know what the person needs? They need somewhere to live, they need food, and they need a job. So like it'd be helpful if we were talking together about how we can offer those things to the same person. I know even in the school system, there was often an issue where services were provided to students, and sometimes principals would say, well, if this child is receiving services from, say, a Child's Place, they cannot receive services from Citizens, because we want to give as many children the chance to receive services, period. And while I understand the logic behind, everybody can get a little bit, what if that child also needed, yes, they needed a backpack to take home for the weekend, but they also needed math help. But you chose the backpack as the only thing they could get. But what about their math? And so
Right.
I think if you can step back and look at networking as a way to give holistic solutions, holistic remedies, holistic opportunities to whatever it is you're providing. And I've been speaking about nonprofit, but that is for business as well, for-profit businesses and social enterprises. If we could be thinking holistically about what it is we're offering, who can you partner with? Who is doing something that would complement your business, not necessarily a direct competitor, but who would complement your business, and how could you all come together and offer a deal to better serve your client? Because at that point, you both get more business because that client now supports you, and then word of mouth, still the best marketing. They're telling their friends and their family to move forward with. And I think it's been that desire to have your soul byline, not understanding holistic approaches to problems, causes people to shrink back. But that's, to me, that is what caused us to move so fast.
Yes.
That it was like, who can we bring along with us, and how do we share this together? That is what truly makes the impact. And then your people, your community are better served. And in my opinion, it's a win-win for everyone. But we get so focused on individual credit that we miss sometimes the bigger picture.
Absolutely. Because collaboration, in all actuality, it helps save time, and it saves money, because you
Right.
are putting all of your resources together, you're putting all of your client base together, and it's
Yes.
just amazing how much further and faster you can propel. I've witnessed that as well. I am a
Yes.
huge proponent on working with others in the community. It's so needed.
Mhm.
All right, I see. Thank you so much, Vern's Junk Closet, for being in the building and help navigating this. Tonight is a busy night, it
Yes.
seems, for people that are just, I guess they're looker seers or whatever, but they may mean no harm. I'm not sure. But I wanted to say what Green Fam 20 had said, that yes, they learned a lot about farming. My daughter states she is going to have a farm when she moves out.
Yes.
Yes. And you're seeing even people that are living in apartments or smaller dwellings are doing the box gardens and
Exactly.
things like that. We're finding the value in growing our own food. So,
Right.
um,
Right.
oh, that's so nice. Vern's Closet said that, yes, I want to compliment you. So
Mm.
she's complimenting. So thank you, Vern. All right. So you have Stay Ready. You primarily work with nonprofit organizations, but
Yes.
I know that nonprofits is the same premise as a
Yes.
for-profit business, and
Yes.
it's just like a person becomes it may start off like a hobby, or they run it like a
Right.
hobby, but they call it a business.
Yes.
And so with
Yes.
nonprofits, they, are running it like a passion instead of a business.
Right.
So either way, they still need that.
Right.
You also work with for-profit organizations.
Yes. Yes.
And what type of businesses do you
I've
work with? I see
yes.
It Factor,
So I've
Immaculate.
worked with hello there, Immaculate Training. Yes, it is the it factor. I've worked with all kinds of organizations of all sizes. With for-profit organizations in my consulting organization, it has been mostly small businesses who are trying to go to the next level or have a project that they want to execute, but they're not quite sure how to get, to that new demographic, or take it, or they've been stuck, at a certain phase of planning for a while. And so those have been the for-profit organizations that I've worked for and worked with. And one of the things, like to your point, similar pain points. A business was started typically out of a hobby or a passion, and usually don't have a background in business, but want to do whatever that skill set is. And so they launch that, and that can take you far. Your passion can take you far, but you do not have true scalability and long-term success without business principles and foundations in place. Same thing for not-for-profits. Nonprofits are typically started from the heart. And it's a desire to give back to the community, or to work on an area that you lacked when you were younger. and you go. And that passion will take you far, but inevitably, usually in nonprofits, it's 3 years. Businesses around the same. When you hit that place where your passion, your energy dies. And if you do
Yeah.
not have business principles in place, whether it is how to scale past yourself, to effectively delegate to other people so that you can focus on expanding your business. I put out a meme the other day. Like, one of the basic principles I learned early in my management career was do what only you are uniquely qualified to do. Delegate everything else.
I love it.
If there is something in your business where you are the only one who can source new business for your company, you should not be the one ordering catering for your next meeting. Like, that's not where your brain space should be. And you don't have to be a large business to make that happen. You have virtual
Right.
assistants, you have interns, you have scheduling software. There's all kinds of things that can come alongside you to do that. But if you choose for whatever reason to take up your brain space to do these, I'm going to call them menial tasks, but not out of disrespect, but out of skill level that's needed to accomplish those. If you spend your time still focused on those things, who's planning your next step as an organization?
Right.
Who's thinking for your 3-year plan? Who's prospecting the next business you need to go and talk to? Like, who's doing that?
Mhm.
If you are scheduling with Jason's Deli, like, where's that happening? And so we
Exactly.
have to let go of those things. And I see the same thing. Small businesses and nonprofits typically struggle with those same things. And if you can come off of that and come over that hump, that is where true success and longevity lie. But if you're still stuck in the one who has to do everything for yourself and you have not set up systems in place or a succession plan, that's something I know you're big on, Sherry. Who comes after you? What comes next?
Right.
If
Mhm.
you're not thinking there by year 5, you're not going to make it to year 10. And so I think that's where a lot
Exactly.
of the organizations get stuck.
Yeah. They look at the upfront payment and they get a little bit nervous, gun shy, with it, like, oh
Right,
my goodness, it's going to cost. But in
right,
reality, it's going to cost you more at the end. It may cost
yes,
you your business. It may cost you your organization. So
right,
which one are you trying? Which one is most important? So let's see. In the building, we have Immaculate Training, and thank you, Vern, for welcoming them.
yes.
And she
Thank
says,
you.
no, we're
We
not
would not
ordering lunch
order
here.
lunch at
Oh, yeah. Yes, right. Um, so you are involved with so many amazing organizations. They all want a piece of LaToya. They want Stay Ready, but they really want the mastermind behind it. And I know an organization was able to capture your attention a little longer than
Yes,
most. And that
yes,
is She Built This City.
yes.
You all, if you could put, let me see, a smiley face if you've heard of She Built This City. I don't know why I said that because I'm sure many people haven't. Okay. But LaToya, tell us
Yes,
about She Built This City.
yes. So She Built This City is a new nonprofit organization that's focus is on sparking interest in construction and manufacturing for women and girls ages 9 through 17. Our founder, Demi Knight Clark, herself had spent 20 years in the construction industry and got tired of being the only woman at the table. And by her own admission, she was a white woman at that table. And the lack of diversity in where those key decisions are being made within the construction and manufacturing industry was a white male dominated place. And she came to the part in her career where she said, I can do something about this. Went on a Yale fellowship, came out, I'm going to start She Built This City. And so we take a lifespan continuum approach to changing that demographic. Right now, at construction and manufacturing, sit about at 8%, 9% women representation in that field. We have an aggressive goal by 2030. We want to see that pushing towards 50%. And so, because we have an aggressive goal, we have an aggressive approach, aggressive growth strategy to get there. And we start 9 years old, basic hammer and nail skills, get you outside, construction math. Can you identify the tools? Let's talk about the future of the trades, 3D printing, drone inspection, coding. We start you there. Our middle school girls, you get a little bit more dexterity, more understanding of processes. Let's drywall, let's paint. let's wire. Let's teach you those components. And if you have good attendance and engagement throughout the year, you qualify to attend a summer camp where we'll build our own she shed. And so we'll take them through that process, that we'll then donate that she shed to another community organization or nonprofit. And then we come to our Women at Work platform. And so this is a networking space of trade circles for women in the field, whether you're an architect, an engineer, a plumber, you own your own plumbing business. Women are in the space. Let's come together because there's power in numbers. And there are more of us than you think. So we create that space for both networking, for job training, and then job placement opportunities for women as well. And so like you said, Sherry, it captured my heart, it captured my attention. Although I just launched Stay Ready in January, I was at a place that I could continue doing my own business for the next 2 to 3 years. I had contracts lined out. I was not intending to work for anyone else full time, to be quite honest. I was in my own lane. I was happy in my own lane, but I was approached by the founder, who again, Demi she's a juggernaut. I think if there's ever a life example of what a juggernaut is, she is that. She is a force to be reckoned with. She is amazing. And I was watching her progress from afar, cheering her on. We had early conversations in February around me potentially developing some curriculum for our summer camps. So that's what I thought we were going to talk about. She reached out to me in May, said, "Hey, let's talk, LaToya." I said, "Yeah, let's talk." I'm thinking it's going to be a conversation about curriculum. It took me about 30 minutes into the conversation where I realized she was offering me a job. So what is this? And she didn't do what a lot of nonprofits do. Is she did not sit in the founder's chair and say that I have to be the one to run this. She realized her limitations. She is a for-profit girl, so in her own words. She knows construction. She knows sales. She knows leadership. She is energy. But she is not nonprofit, and she is not workforce development. And she knew that. And she said she knew she needed someone to come alongside her to actually build out, go deep and go wide with the mission, so we can go where we need to go, to have that 50% by 2030, because it is achievable. But you have to have intention and the right people behind, and around you to make that happen. And so I started in May. Today is my 1 month anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It has been a whirlwind, and I have loved every minute of it. I had in this process, in just my 6 months of consulting, I came to the conclusion that I am attracted to startup environments, entrepreneurial environments, whatever they look like. But what I had to realize is that my attraction can be dangerous, because dysfunction and disorder look a lot alike on the surface. You can bring.
Ooh, wait, Rewind. You need to say that again. I see Vernon's saying congratulations.
Thank you.
You need to say that whole previous statement one more time.
Yes. Because
Green Fam says congratulations also.
Oh, thank you very much. Because I'm attracted to startup environments, entrepreneurial situations, I realized that my attraction could be dangerous, because dysfunction and disorder look a lot alike on the surface, but one can be fixed and one cannot. Disorder can be fixed, dysfunction cannot. And so on the surface, I'd say in the first, few weeks of being with an organization, they can look exactly the same. But it has taken me a while to come up with key things to realize when you identify dysfunction, abandon ship. Abort mission, because you're getting yourself deep into something that cannot be fixed. And if you're in an organization that's been around for a while that is dysfunctional, guess what? The people who are still there, they like dysfunction. They're used to it. So you are not going to make progress in that environment. And this goes for relationships too. We'll talk about that at another podcast. It's about business. That's another conversation. But no, they look the same. And so I quickly saw that She Built This City just needed some systems and procedures in place to take it to the next level, because it had factors that showed me that this is not dysfunction. This is new. This is just like this organization, because it's new. Like anything at the beginning is chaotic. That's because it's starting. And once you can put a few systems and procedures in place, boom,
Absolutely.
you're ready to run. And I saw that, and she built this city, and I said, that's a place I can go, I can thrive.
Yes.
And we can make together, we can run with this very quickly. And so I saw that, I was attracted to it. I said, workforce development had become that rallying cry for me, because with affordable housing, there's but so much affordable units you can build. You know, there's only so much land God has made, and He is not making any
more land.
At least not inland. You know, if you live on the island volcanoes, there's a possibility. But where we are, there's no more. There's no more. So
land and gold, I've been saying that for years.
Exactly.
Land, all the land and gold you can.
But so many affordable houses you can build, you have to start equipping people with higher wages, you know, and getting them the training that they need to afford the housing that's actually here. And so if we don't get on the workforce development train soon, and that's, I think, Sherry, you and I were on the panel when I had that conversation of, like, here in Charlotte, you know, job training and upward mobility has become a buzzword, and people are excited about it. But I asked the question, are we truly creating pathways to these new opportunities? Because if someone has been born in poverty, they've learned a system, they've learned a culture, they will learn rules of how to navigate poverty. You're going to take them now to a middle-class society that operates by different rules. So just giving them a skill, teaching them how to code, does not change the rules they grew up with. And they don't even know they're operating by these rules. They don't know. Exactly. That's their whole world.
Which is why, you know, what I do is I train the whole person, make them self-aware of what their previous beliefs are and how to formulate new beliefs that will help them achieve the goal that they need to really navigate through society. Because they're not equipped with that. You know, like you're saying, if you give them the skill, great. But if they don't know how to navigate in those boardrooms, in the workplace, then they're going to revert back to who they are or who they were. And that's when it goes to, oh, well, that program didn't work. Or that didn't work.
Exactly. And so workforce development had become my new focus. And so with She Built This City, yes, it's a women's empowerment focus, but it's about jobs. And that is what I will bring to any table that I sit at. Yes, it is a safe space for empower women. But if we don't come out of here with more jobs, we have not done our job. We have not done our job if we're not empowering women to get these jobs. So it's about jobs. And so workforce development, it was in line with that passion of mine, an underrepresented population of women in this space. In my own career, I've seen how I've had to learn different rules to navigate to another level of success. And women, we are often operating by different rules as well, unbeknownst to us, that keep us out of conversations, keep us away from the decision-making tables. And so that was in line with a passion of mine. Let's get it. Let's get it. Like, I don't let's make this happen. It's needed. It is needed right now. So yes, it is a new nonprofit, but it has all of the pieces to be successful. And I see the founders and the board's commitment to moving in the direction that needs to go. You go where opportunity is. So it's the blue ocean strategy in business. You don't go where people are competing, where the sharks are eating up all the fish in this red water because of the competition. You go to the blue ocean where no one is. Yes. Go there and you thrive over there. And so we operate by a blue ocean strategy. Go where no one else is. We don't need to compete. We don't need to compete over here. There's enough for everyone. Let's go over here. And
I love that.
All those
I hope everyone's taking notes because, you know, dysfunction, disorganization, the difference, blue ocean strategy, you know, because that is so true. Everyone's always going for the red water.
Yes.
And I never, ever in anything in my life, relationships, business, whatever, have ever gone towards the red water.
Right.
Never. I love it. And, you know, jobs is just the beginning piece. It's also the career pathways. So it's also showing them how to dare to dream, the things that they can do with this skill, how it can transition into so many other things. beings. And I love the fact that you brought up the dysfunction and disorganization piece, because that shows growth. Because a lot of times people don't recognize that. That's why through every situation, you know, when you and I communicate, I always say, what is the lessons that you learned? Because if you don't identify the lessons that you learned through each situation, through each trial, you definitely have a better instance of repeating it. Because the more that you know, this is a lesson that I learned, the next time you see it, you can recognize it. And so it's definitely sounding like you can recognize it. I know, you know, and it makes you, you know, really not just jump at every ship that comes your way. It makes you really look into it. And it's just like, you don't date every person that you want that wants to date you. You know, I remember asking one of my daughter's teammates who got an offer to play at a particular college. And I said, well, what made you select that school? And she said, well, because they wanted me. We can no longer just want something because it wants you. That does not mean it's right for you. You have to make sure it's a great fit. You know, like I'm going to tell you guys, with Stay Ready and with LaToya Faustin, if you are interested in utilizing her as a resource, utilizing her company, her expertise, do not come to her if you're not ready. Do not come to her if you're not ready. So many people think they're ready, and when they get that person, that new equipment or whatever that can get them ready, they just drop the ball, and now you're wasting everybody's time, your time especially. So know when you're ready, and then that's when you approach. And I've actually told people that on LaToya's behalf. Don't go to her if you're not ready. And she's gonna get you ready, and she's gonna help you stay ready. But if you're really not ready, don't do it.
Don't call, because we'll both be frustrated. We'll both be frustrated.
Exactly. And so the other great thing is, you know, during this time, this is a trying time that we're all in, you know, with COVID, with the racial unrest, with politics, just everything is just going awry. You've managed to stay laser focused. How have you been able to thrive? And I saw in the chat that someone had mentioned thrive. And how have you, yes, thrive. And I actually have it up there, I pinned it. But how have you been able to thrive during this time as a entrepreneur, as a consultant, you know, as a mother? How have you been able to thrive?
That's a great question. And it's hard for me to hear it that way, because I've been blessed. I have been blessed to launch your small business just before a national pandemic. It's, you know, no one would plan that. However, it worked in my favor. And I say some of that is just the grace of God. I do not overshadow the piece of, you know, divine fortitude and direction and unction and Holy Spirit gut, whatever you call it, it exists. And, you know, yielding to what that is in you, that's number one. But the Bible says faith without works is dead. And so I think one of my keys to surviving and thriving in this is that I don't know how to fail. And that doesn't mean I don't fail, because things fail all the time, but I don't know how to stop. Like I don't know how. And I'm glad that it could be a problem. Like, it really could be a problem. But I don't know how to stop. Like, if something doesn't work, you try it again. If they don't call me back, call someone else. Like, it's you just don't stop. You keep moving, because failure is not an option. It isn't. And when this pandemic hit, I have a 3-year-old son. I have a mortgage. Like, those are things that are non-negotiable. Like, I cannot say, okay, we'll just put this to the side for a while. That's not an option. So success is there. I have to go find it, and whatever that looks like. I think you and I were talking, like, it wasn't until I got the position with She Built This City where I just actually stopped to breathe for a second. And I began to notice more things around me, because I was so in go that it was, even in my downtime, I was thinking about what was next. I was analyzing a situation. I was coming up with a solution, because a lot of what I've done with Stay Ready is I would reach out to organizations and say, have you ever considered this? I know you hadn't thought about this, but this could help you. So I was always thinking about, okay, how could I help them? And oh, they didn't know they needed this. Let me submit this, or let me share this resource with them. I came across this would help. This would help, so and so in their business. And so I was always thinking. And so I would say a part of my thriving in this environment was not taking no for an answer. I don't fail.
Yeah.
And again, it's not an arrogant statement of I don't feel like I don't make mistakes, I don't fall. I don't stop. Mm-hmm. So you have to keep going. And so exactly. I think that has been why. That has been why.
I know in business for the many years with my husband, he would always say there's no such thing as failure. It might be an unsuccess.
Right.
And I for a long time thought that was a real word, like, oh yeah, it is unsuccess this time, whatever. But it's like, a play of words, and you can't let it paralyze you. And so many people do. When they hear no, they get paralyzed. They lose focus. They get off balance so easily. And so it was so refreshing and so inspiring to see how you kept navigating through. It was as if nothing was really happening in the world, much less the city, the country, and and so when you say like failure is not an option, it's not. It's not. Because as long as you wake up, as long as that first blessing of each day when you open your eyes occurs, that means you have another chance to get it right, to do it different or to do it better. And you have definitely taken advantage of that first blessing of each day of opening up your eyes, LaToya. I've talked about you, like indirectly in so many of my videos. If any of you have ever wondered, like, who is that person Sherry's talking about? Coach Sherry, what you talking about? It's LaToya. It's so inspiring. It's so inspiring. What is the hardest decision that you had to make recently? Because I know you have to make a lot.
Oh my goodness. The hardest decision I had to make recently. Wow, Sherry, that's a good one, because to your point, there's so many. I think my definition of what is a hard decision has changed now. It could be with my son, in schools. I feel like this last 6 months has been a journey of me saying no to things that don't value me. And I think that has been hard. Those no's have been hard, because much like the young lady you referenced, who got the scholarship, was like, well, they want me. I feel as if, I don't mind sharing, I'm 37. I feel like the first 30 years of my life have been, oh, they want me. Thank you. Yes. Within the last 7, but more astutely, the last 2 to the last 18 months have been me reflecting on my own value, my own worth, what I bring to the table, and being able to say no to things that don't value me. Like, yes, you may want me. Exactly the exact example that you said. Yes, you may want me, but you don't deserve me, or you don't know how to use my services. So I'm going to say no to you. And so I don't have one specific example to highlight at this moment, but it has been this last 6 months been whether, no, I'm going to withdraw my son from this school because it does not suit our family, or no, actually, I'm not going to take that contract because you've been wasting my time. Like that is a new phenomenon for me. I could do that for other people all day and say they don't deserve you. You shouldn't be there. But for LaToya, I did not see myself in that light to be able to walk away from something, especially when I felt like I was in need of it. So in this pandemic, to turn down a contract, or to say, actually, no, we're not going to work well together. That is new for me. Yeah. And so those have been hard no's. But again, another lesson, you have to say no so that you can say yes. So if I had overcommitted myself, I would not have been able to say yes to She Built This City. Yeah. I would not have been in a position to open up and say, actually, yes, I can, and we can start now. So you have to say no. And once you know who you are, your core values, your worth, it is easier to say no to the things that don't align with that. I'm sad that it took me to 37 to figure that out, but I'm grateful that we will be saying no moving forward. Like there's
Right.
I'm the kind of person that it takes me a while to learn a lesson because I'm a slow processor. But once I got it, I got it. There is no do-over. There's no retest. Like once I got it, I got it. And so that is a lesson that is firmly embedded in me. And we will move forward in that. So those have been hard decisions for me, but they've been great decisions. And I don't regret not a one of them.
I am beaming over here listening to you as I also am leafing through my notes trying to find the quote, because this is something that you had said to me. Yes, the hardest decision is saying no, understanding your worth and knowing, there's something better or that's not a good fit, and be okay. And so what you had said to me the other day is, it is important to find your own value and know the power you bring. And that is what you had just mentioned, but I wanted to say it also because so many people don't realize, I wanted to say it. So many people don't realize the power that they bring. And so,
Right.
They find themselves saying yes and being so disgruntled, so unhappy, just broken and off in many cases at the end. And they don't realize that, yes, you're saying no to this. You don't see anything coming up, but because you said no to what is not right for you, what is right for you is right behind it. And it will be there. You just have to believe. You have to know what it is that you want as well. You have been very intentional with outlining what it is that you wanted, who you are, how it would fit with others, what skills you had to transfer to each situation. And that's what we all need to do more of. It's doing a audit, a self-audit is very important, because you're continuously growing, progressing, and with your each experience, you're learning something new. So you have to see, is this going to fit in this situation now, or do I need to pivot again? And you have done, I've really seen it in these past 9 months. You have really done a phenomenal job understanding that self-awareness piece has been huge. Don't you feel more empowered and strong and secure with that knowledge?
It's a less anxious stance, I think for a number of reasons in our society, as women and as women of color, we filter ourselves to make other people feel safe and to make other people feel comfortable. But I'm done with that.
Yes.
That's that period of my life is over. And I know enough of who I am and what I bring to the table. I'm not going to disrespect you, but I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to value me enough to say what needs to be said in this situation for the both of us. So that is what's going to happen moving forward, unapologetically. And it's taken me a while to get there. But I have no qualms about it. I think that it's one of those things where I've been scared to. So I'm a Marvel comic fan, and so it's one of those things where I relate to those superheroes that have weird giftings, and so I feel a little bit like I've had a power that I've been squelching to make other people feel safe. But I'm at a point now. No more. I am good at this. I am very good at this, and this is how we're gonna have to do this. And you need to get out of my way. Like that's just because I know what I'm capable of. Like I've seen it enough now. I can actually guarantee this if you just get out my way. And that is where I am. And with the kind of work that I do, I can be a juggernaut in that. It's like this goal is so important that y'all need to move. And I don't mind saying that. Like this is where we're going. And you're coming with me or you're getting out of my way. But you're not gonna stand in front of me. Like that's what we're gonna do.
And see, that's something else that I really admire. Even though you're saying it's taking you a long time, it hasn't. It really hasn't. I mean, there's women that I coach all the time in their mid to late 50s, early 60s that have not arrived to that self-awareness, that level yet. It took me a long time. You know that. It took me a long time to own all that I am, because I was just like you, but at still a much older age, trying to make everyone else around me feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, and I still want everyone around me to feel comfortable. It's just that I'm not going to diminish who I am and what I bring to the table, because I know. And when you can own all of who you are, it's a beautiful thing. It's a light. Like I probably lost 10 pounds, literally. Well, not really. I wish it was that easy. But I feel so much lighter because of it. It's so freeing. And as women, we always are so concerned with the others. You know, we don't mind. We might talk about it behind closed doors about our feelings, our true feelings, but we have to learn to speak up for ourselves. If you're great at that and you are, like, go for that. You don't have to always share with people to hang on. I call them carrying everyone on your hip. That's why our hips are the way they are, trying to carry all these people. We can't.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you learned that you learned it at a great age. You learned it at a great age, not a young age, not an old, but a great age. I'm looking at myself. I learned it at a great age as well, because this world, I still feel, I'm like, y'all just not ready. I sit down. I remember I went to a team building event. It was 7 or 8 other people there, and I walked in late, of course, and I didn't realize the first thing started. And so when I sat down, they said, "Oh, Sherry, we're just going around asking, just one word to describe yourself." I said, "Dynamic," and I wrote it down. And I'm looking around at everyone else, compassionate, happy, friendly, helpful, and I'm like, "Oh, no. Dynamic." Yeah. So, it's having that type of posture, and it's important, especially as we continue to move forward and make the changes that need to be made,
right.
Especially now. Oh my goodness.
Now.
All right. Let's see. I want to see who else is in. Oh, hey, Keely. Keely is amazing. LaToya, I didn't even ask. Do you ever come on YouTube? What's up with that?
I need to get on the good foot. I need to get on it.
It's amazing. All these people that are in here, Blessed Row, Vern's Junk Closet, Keely. Jill's Comfort Zone. Thank you for being here. They are all amazing YouTubers. Anyone that's rocking with me, they are doing it, and I really enjoy their content.
I'll be on it. I'll get on it.
Yes, definitely. So, we asked about what it makes the hardest decision. What has been the easiest?
In the last few months, the easiest decision was with She Built This City. It was with She Built This City. I've never had anything like this happen to me before. Offered a position on Thursday. Talked with the board of directors the next Thursday. Signed the contract on Friday. Started on Tuesday. Like, I've never in my life experienced that before. And especially these last few months, it was like you have to woo people and like, yes, let's have a couple of more meetings and conversations and several rounds of interviews and negotiations. And to have something like that happen so fast is how quickly your life can change. Mm-hmm. But I was ready for it. And so it was an easy yes. It's one of those things where I did not have to think very long. I had a couple conversations. I think you might have been one of them.
Yeah.
I just check me real quick, make sure I'm not crazy. Check. It's good. Done. Like it was easy.
I love it. I'm trying to tell you, if I would have known you when I was in my 30s, the world wouldn't have been ready. That's why we didn't do it. Imagine if I would have known you, like literally when my husband and I were doing real estate development, there was we didn't know of any other Black anyone that was doing it, especially our age. We were both in our early 30s.
Yeah.
And, those meetings, sitting at those board meetings, making those financial decisions. People looking at us, we looking at them.
Yeah.
It just would have. I just wish my posture was a lot stronger then. It was strong at the table, but when we went behind closed, I would like lean on my husband, like, oh my goodness, like what in the world are we doing?
Right.
But that's why I'm here to support you however way I
Mm-hmm.
can. Oh my goodness, what you're doing. And for those of you that are listening, that are tuned in, if you know young women, young girls that have any type of even just business savvy, try and steer them towards construction. You would be amazed at the things that they can do within construction. Let me tell you, I was on a conference call with Demi, who is the founder of She Built This City. And I remember her talking about making 3D masks back then.
Yeah.
And what has she done with that concept, LaToya?
Oh my goodness. She started off with 2 3D printers, and said, maybe I could make face masks for COVID for hospital workers, frontline essential workers. And where about 4 months later, she got partners again, because you do not go far alone. She got partners on board, and together they've now printed over 10,000 face masks that have been donated to hospitals and nonprofits in the area. They've created, I want to say, 5,000 ear savers, door openers, within a matter of 4 months, and even qualified. Her work got the attention of organizations like the Foundation for the Carolinas and United Way, that traditionally only fund established nonprofits. And her organization at the time, 6 months old, got significant funding for this PPE efforts. And so it has been amazing to see. It has been amazing to see. And so, yes, like you said, an idea, like literally an idea of a face mask with 2 3D printers turned into partnership with Lowe's and Avid Exchange, with people printing masks from their houses to be able to give to the community now.
And I want to say that meeting that I had with Demi was in March.
Yeah.
So, and that is a form of construction, like it's just like utilities. When people hear utilities, they don't realize a water department has over 212 different positions, from GED to PhD. And like with construction, it's so much. If you know of young girls who are innovative, who are creative, and just like to create new things and manipulate things, try and steer them in construction. It's amazing. All right, LaToya, we're going to start.
And especially, I know there was one follower who said, there was one follower who said her daughter was into farming.
Yes.
I would say, encourage construction as well, because they go hand in hand. They go hand in hand. And being able to, just to point a little bit more about the 3D printing, one of the things we do focus on is the future proofing the trades. So what it means, we will be 3D printing houses by 2030, like the way that we're going as a society. So drones, what it used to take 40 people to inspect a skyscraper, you can do that with a drone now.
Yeah.
And so that is where the industry is going. And so I would encourage, if you have a young woman in your life, or you're yourself interested, follow She Built the City. We're going to be having some things coming down the pipeline. Drone camps for young women in the community. We're going to be having 3D printing opportunities. We have a mobile tool lab that's going to be going out into the community at the end of July, teaching classes, teaching families how to do 10, quick household fixes to make your budget stretch further. We have been gifted seats in forklift and OSHA 10 training to help families who are in need right now. And a forklift certification includes a $30 an hour job at a warehouse. People are always looking for that, because construction did not stop. Again, this is an industry that did not stop in the midst of this pandemic. It actually probably accelerated because there was less people on the roads to get underway. So please follow She Built This City. We're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're going to be having some amazing opportunities, especially for young women, coming very soon. And because of COVID, we're lifting up our women focus and say youth in general, because we know that families need help right now, and everybody's looking for support. And so our summer programming is non-gender specific. And so please follow us. If you're looking for opportunities, they're going to be coming down the pipeline really soon. And even virtually.
Also, She Built This City is in Charlotte, but is it in any other location? Just for, because people are from all over.
Right. Right now we're in Charlotte, but we have some aggressive strategies that will be getting us into other cities very soon. So give me about 4 months and have me back. Wink, wink. And
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I've actually included forklift. I've included forklift certification in OSHA 10 for our apprentices as well, because I wanted them to have as many transferable skills as possible.
I love it.
All right, LaToya, we're going to get ready to wind down.
Yes.
Let me see. I see people are speaking in here. Be in your zone, sis. This is your moment in time. Enjoy it. That's from Vern's Jump Closet. Have to go and do my mukbang. All right, Green Fam 20. I'm glad you enjoyed the live. Let's see. Jill's Comfort Zone is saying this is awesome. And I know Jill's Comfort Zone is in Brooklyn. New York would be a great place for women in construction too, because, and I say that with confidence, because so many, the majority of the women who have been my pipeline interns or my apprentices have come from New York, specifically from Brooklyn. Awesome. And those women, I'm telling you, they are in male dominant positions.
Yeah.
They are changing the face of those career paths.
I love it.
They are doing so good.
I love it.
They, oh my goodness, they are killing the game for real. They're changing it and are just coming and stopping.
I'd love to connect with them, Sherry. Do that.
Yes.
Connect.
Yes. Oh, I know a few, and they are so good with power tools and have no fear. I've never seen women like this before. They are dynamic. All right. So what are some key elements that you've realized are missing? Well, no, I'm going to back up because we're winding down. I'm sorry. Okay. I want to ask you a question from these cards. These are Red Table Talk cards that Jada Smith and Pinkett Smith and her daughter and her mom, they have that Red Table Talk.
Okay.
And so they have these cards, and these cards all have like different things on the back. And it's really just to get to know who you're talking with a little bit better. Okay. So I've been using these at the end of my interviews to have a randomness to it.
I love it.
So I'm just going to pick one. Oh, okay. How can I best support you in this chapter in your life?
I'm gonna cry. Sherry, thank you. You have been supporting me, and I would say, just to narrate for the listeners, just being a listening ear, a non-judgmental listening ear that can root for you when you don't see your own worth, you don't see the light, who can help you see that light. And so you've been that for me through a number of seasons. And I know we talked about we worked together, but Sherry worked for me at an organization, and like to have someone of her caliber and amazingness, because I'm losing my words at the end of the day here, is being there and supporting is amazing. And just the posture that she took in that position, our friendship and companionship and colleagueship, if that's a word, it's not, throughout these years has been awesome. And you've been consistent, you've been there. And just like I said, who can root? I see a little bit of your motherhood nature, because there have been times where I know I did something wrong, and Sherry will be like, "But that's okay. They needed it that way. You should have said it that way." Like, and that there is a time to be corrected, and there's a time to be supported. I feel like you can distinguish between those well, and I've valued every single minute of it. You've been an advocate, you've been a friend, you've been a listening ear. You've helped me build my confidence back up, and so you're doing it. So I'm just narrating for everybody else, so y'all know, like, this is what what and who Sherry is, because it's not even a what, it's who you are, and that means the world to me. So you don't You owe me nothing. You don't need to do anything else. I am. If we don't talk again after this live ever, we
Oh,
good.
please.
This
No,
is just
forever connected.
but no, thank you. But yeah, no, we good. You're amazing.
Well, I'm always here for you, whatever you need. Panelist,
Yes.
a trainer, whatever you need, I am definitely there. Whatever crafting, workforce development programs, whatever. My resources are your resources. So everyone in this live, I appreciate you. For those of you who are tuning in for this replay, I appreciate you as well. You know what? I'm going to double back again because LaToya, I always ask my guests, do you have any questions for me? Uh-oh.
Ooh, what questions? You've shared so many nuggets already, Sherry. The question that I would ask is, what advice would you give to I'm trying to figure out what age, the 22-year-old Sherry out of college that would land you where you are now? I mean, you got here, so of course you made it here, but what would you tell her to make the experience, whether it's more enjoyable, more efficient, whatever it is you wished would have happened in that time? What would you tell her?
I'm going to tell you, I lived my life. I didn't turn anything down. I took full advantage of every opportunity. I would say take more pictures, get more contact information, stay in contact with those people. I mean, LaToya, my life between 22 and now, it has been remarkable. It has truly, it's unbelievable. Like, I have been so blessed beyond measure. And I always knew that. I never took it for granted. It's so unbelievable that, most people probably don't believe it. That's why I don't really talk about it. But, I have had the most fortune in my life, and I'm just grateful. I know it was all God, and it is because, I believed in it. It's just, for me, it was the moment of stopping my world when I had to care for my mother that just changed the trajectory and everything of my life, So I probably would tell my 22-year-old self to make sure my parents moved to Charlotte instead. But yeah, that, and I think that's why, like, especially my daughter, especially my center child, it's like she makes my heart stop beating because she's living. I'm looking at her live the way I lived at that age, and I don't know how I wish my mother was here so she could tell me how she did it, because I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it before. Today was her last day of real estate school. I mean, that girl.
I love it.
She brought me a Louis Vuitton for Mother's Day. Like, you're 19. You just turned 20, but, it's like, that's how she just.
She got it from her mama.
Take lots of pictures, get contact information, and stay connected long term.
I love it.
I hope that helps someone. But you guys, I want to thank you again for being here in this live. LaToya Faustin, thank you for being my special guest for my 5th episode. And everyone, I encourage you to check out Stay Ready Consulting Solutions. You can find her on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. Also, be sure to check out She Built This City. Follow them. See the moves that they're making. They make moves. That's what I'm saying. Stay Ready Consulting. She Built This City. If you're not ready, don't even bother. Like, for real. Like, stay in the bushes. Don't come out, because they are dynamic and are bulldozing their way and, taking a strong stance for women. And I love it. And I'm here for it. I'm out the bushes. I'm ready. So where we going? What we doing? Thank you for tuning in. I want to thank all the people that came. Vern's Junk Closet, thank you for being an amazing moderator and for welcoming everyone. I get caught up in my conversations. Thank you. Comfort Zone. I know she started doing her lives and she's doing a phenomenal job. She is going to be growing out of the woodwork. Oh my goodness, she's going to do amazing. Let's see. Keely has been in the building. Bless Rowe was here. Just everyone. I really hate starting to say names and things because I always forget people. So I apologize in advance. But for those of you who weren't able to come into the chat, I appreciate you. I know Carter's Eats was here as well. And for those of you who are not yet subscribed to my channel, I would like to invite you to subscribe, hit the bell for notification for when I make a video. I will be live again Sunday night with a great guest, and that will be 6 p.m. on Sunday. Until we speak again, and LaToya, especially to you, please stay safe.
Yes.
Stay ready, everyone.
Yes, everybody stay ready.
We are. Everyone, thank you for tuning in again. This has been Real Talk with Coach Sherry.